What's going on, everyone? So as you can see, the title of this video is Lessons I'm Learning from My Dad's Death. And I feel like I wanted to make this video. Maybe it could help someone out along the way because I'm still learning these things. There's a lot on this list. So if it's a long video, I'll probably break it up into two parts. But you know, as I'm building a business and doing things to try to better my future and my family, this is still real. You know, my dad's death, he died 7 months ago. And so I feel like maybe it can help someone. I don't know, at least for me, at least just putting it out there, getting my thoughts and my feelings out there. So it can kind of be a release, and then maybe I can look back on it, you know, a year from now and maybe even add to it or say, yeah, I think I've gone through this this phase or this whatever. But anyhow, so I got a picture right here. Me and my dad. This was back when I was like 2 years old. It sits on my desk in my office. So I see it every time I'm sitting here, you know, I look over. It's almost the same desk that he had in that picture as one that I have now. At least a close resemblance to it. Try to be like my dad in almost every way. Wanted to tell you that, you know, maybe you're going through a similar situation. You're not alone. Matter of fact, that's going to be one of the points that I'm going to mention. But the first one I want to say is, you know, the lesson. So the first lesson is life is short. You know, my dad was 71 years old when he died. And, you know, that's a long life. But, you know, I'm 32. And you look back 10 years ago, you know, you're 22, and 10 years before that, you're 12. Like, just how fast time flies, you know, from a kid to an adult, and then your adult years, just as soon as you have kids, and then, you know, you're raising them, and then it's always something, and then time just keeps on traveling, time keeps on moving. Life is short, time flies. And so you got to cherish time. You got to cherish the loved ones around you, whether that's your friends, your family, distant relatives, aunts, uncles, whoever it is. You've got to, you know, be intentional on making connections and reaching out. You know, we get so busy, we don't even send a text message. We got to text, we got to call, we got to tell people we love them because you never know when their time is. You never know when your time is. You know, it could happen at any moment to any of us. My dad died from liver cancer, and it came out of nowhere. And 2 weeks before we found out, my grandmother died. And so it was a hard process to go through. And all the peaks and valleys of the 7 weeks or so that he had after he found out, you know, he had cancer. It was a hard thing. So you just never know when life is going to rear its ugly head at you and take your knees out, you know, clip your wings. So you got to be intentional with your time, the people around you, and be intentional with your legacy. You know, you got to leave a legacy, whether it's good or bad. You're going to leave one, and so you got to leave one for your children, so one for people to remember you by. That's going to be, you know, bigger than financial, you know, whatever your money situation is, the properties you own. That's part of a legacy, but that's not the whole thing. You know, there's so much more to a legacy. You know, the first thing when people talk about my dad was he was always smiling. You know, he was always giving, like he was, you know, he helped people in times of need. It was never about, the first things they never said was, you know, he was a successful businessman. You know, he sold real estate. That was never the first things. That was some of the things they said, But the first things was, he was always a smile. He greets you with a smile. He was he was 6'4", so he was a jolly giant. So you got to leave a legacy. So life is short. Leave a legacy. The second lesson is grief is a process. When tragedy happens, that's when it's the worst. That's when the pain hurts the worst, as soon as it happens. And the pain will ease over time. And people say that, and it's such a cliche thing to say. People told me that as soon as my dad died, hey, the pain will end. It's not always going to be this way. And I didn't want to hear it because to me, losing my dad was my dad was like Superman to me. He's my best friend. So that I didn't want to hear that, but it is true. As cliche as it is, the pain will ease, but the grief is every day. I feel like there's a difference in between pain and grief. That's just my opinion, because I do wake up with grief. You wake up with it every day. Sometimes you can go throughout your day and it's not as prevalent, and then something can trigger it, and you oh yeah, this is happening. It's a process, and you got to walk through it. And I don't know what it's going to be like 10 years from now. I don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow. I don't know what it's going to be like next week. All I can do is deal with today. So grief is a process. Don't let it eat you alive. Don't let it eat you alive. You got to just keep moving and, look forward to the future, because there is still a future for you, even though you may be in the midst of, unfortunate circumstances. The third lesson is you aren't meant to be alone. No, you aren't meant to be alone. You are meant to have friends, family, coworkers, people around you, a support system. Because if you're alone, you can do it. Things are going to be a lot harder, and you're going to be super lonely because you're alone. You got to have people around you. You got to have, your significant other, your friends. You got to have your family, people to talk to blow off steam to. I got at least, two good buddies that I can at least tell that, how I'm feeling, and one of my best friends, I'll just randomly may just say something to him. It could be off the wall. I wish my dad never died. It's, why didn't God heal him? I have these questions, and I think it's okay to have those questions, but you got to have someone to talk to. And, and if they're grounded in the right soil, then they're going to have, a good response to you. They're going to be able to tell you something that you don't necessarily want to hear, but it's true, so you aren't meant to be alone. You got to find people, good people, not just anyone. You got to find good people, your friends, your family. There's someone in your life that is able to speak to you, maybe not just tell you what you want to hear, but tell you something that is going to bring you some type of peace, some type of hope in the middle of your situation. The fourth lesson is you have to move. I was just telling someone this the other day, that you're going to move. When you lose a loved one, you're going to move. There's only two options to moving, though. Either you're going to get dragged and life is just going to grab you by the arm, by the leg, and it's just going to pull you through the mud, or you're going to be a soldier and you're going to march. I choose to be a soldier and march. My dad wouldn't want me to be dragged. The people that love you the most don't want to see you getting dragged through life, with the depression, with, a ticked off at everyone. The first 2-3 months, I felt like I didn't really care what I said to people. I was probably more direct than I was before, like, my dad just died, what can you do to me type of thing, is how I was feeling. Like, I didn't care if, I said something to someone that I, work with or whatever. Like, I didn't care if I hurt their feelings because I'm dealing with this and you have no clue what it's like. Well, that's not the right attitude, to have. People don't deserve that. They didn't wish this death upon you. So you have to move. You're either going to get dragged or you're going to march. So be a soldier, march. It's left foot, right foot. You just got to keep moving. And one day, you'll shake off the depression. You'll shake off the anger. You'll shake off the things that have been holding you back. The fifth lesson is, let me do that again. The fifth lesson is every day, every minute, someone is going through the exact thing that you are or went through. The day my dad died, July 30th, there was probably in Shreveport, there could have been 100 more people that died that day. Same situation. Someone could have lost a father, a mother, a grandmother, parents losing a newborn child. You don't know. But every day someone is going through the same thing that you are or just went through. And so you aren't alone when you go through grief. There's a lot of people that are going through those things. And if you're having a hard time dealing with it, there's groups, there's groups at churches and, community centers and things of that nature that will help you process that grief. Because it's a room full of people that have gone through things that have been devastating to them. So like, you're not a rare case, as rare as the pain is to you, because no one knows what that person meant to you. No one knows what my dad meant to me. No one knows, how hard it was. I watched him take his last breath. No one knows how I felt in that moment, what I feel every day, what my sister feels, what my mom feels. But there are other people that are going through the same situations. And so, you have to be kind. You have to be kind to people because you don't know what they're going through. And it could be the worst day of their life. You know what I mean? But you have to be kind because kindness it's medicine. And you got to love people. It's hard to love some people, but it's not impossible. It's the right thing to do. And, it can make someone's day. It could change, literally kindness could change someone's life. So you got to be kind. The sixth lesson is, and I didn't write this one down, but I just thought of it, is my cousin told me this, actually. The sixth lesson is, you won't move on, you'll carry on. My cousin told me that. I want to say maybe it was before my dad died, maybe a day or two before he passed. I had a cousin call me up and we were talking, and I was devastated. I just felt like, any minute now my dad was going to pass. And he told me, let me redo that. I was moving. The sixth lesson is, you don't move on, you carry on. My cousin called me a day or two before my dad passed, and he was telling me, you'll never move on, but you'll carry on. And what he meant by that is, no, you won't move on like you move on from an ex, right? You're not going to move on from your dad's death. Like, it's going to be with you every single day. But you will carry on, because that's one of those options, whether you get dragged or march. You will carry on. You have to take care of your family. You have to go to work. You have to provide. You have to put food on the table. You got to pay the bills. You got to help the kids with their activities. You got to do these things. So you got to carry on. And you just got to. You got to carry on, because there's no other option. You won't move on. Carrying on doesn't mean that you moved on. It just simply means that you're living the life that you were meant to live, because that's what God wants you to do, but it's also what the loved one that you lost wants you to do. They want you to carry on. They don't want you to be in this, dark place, in this pit. They want you to take care of your kids, of your loved ones. They want you to keep on representing them the way they were representing themselves on this earth. So, all right, y'all. So that was it. A couple lessons that I'm learning from my dad's death. I hope you maybe got something out of this. If you're going through the same things, leave a comment down below. We're all need each other. So maybe I can help you. Maybe you can help me. Maybe you can help someone else. You never know what someone's going through. So hopefully, you'll take something from it and say, you know what? I am going to move on. I am going to march. I'm going to do these things. So we'll see y'all in the next video. Thank you.